if you're between the ages of 14 and 20, you've probably come across the question whether you feel like an adult and whether you feel as if life has begun and whether you feel as if you have arrived in life and stopped being a child. Well, the thing is, you may not believe me because you have some ego attached to this question, but this question and the concept of adult versus child actually isn't useful. It isn't even necessary. So let me explain. There's two types of people and two types of motivations, let's say. The first group of people is motivated by what the rest does, by analogy, so to speak. That means if everyone goes to the cinema on a first date, they also go to the cinema on a first date versus actually doing what they want. If everyone has an identity crisis, then they also have an identity crisis because it is normal to be confused. If everyone goes to that party, then they also go to that party because it is normal to go to a party. And then there is the second type of person who bases their actions on first principles. That means they think from the ground up instead of thinking by analogy, by comparing themselves. That means instead of going on a first date to the cinema because everyone goes to the first date to the cinema, they go where they want to go. Instead of asking themselves whether they want to be an adult or a child, they disregard those concepts and just live true to themselves. Instead of wearing Nike because everyone else wears Nike, they wear what they want to wear. And so, if you have the dichotomy between child and adult is not based on first principles, it's based on analogy because everyone else thinks this way. So when we look at what being adult actually means, you'll come across a couple of concepts. For instance, being responsible, being disciplined, being dedicated, and being courageous. If you think like a peasant, you will think that you need to be a certain age in order to adopt these concepts. But if you think from the ground up, you'll actually realize that there is nothing hindering you from establishing these principles even when you're, let's say, 12 years old. And that makes the whole dilemma between being a child and being an adult completely irrelevant. But it gets better because if we look at what most people consider to be child versus adult, then growing up also usually means giving up on your ambitions, increasing your inhibition, and also stopping to resist peer pressure and fully giving into what society tells you to think, and also lowering your standards. If we think by analogy, then those concepts come with being an adult. So you not only become responsible, but you also give up on your dreams. But once again, if you think freely, if you think without these superstitions, without these analogies, you will see that it actually doesn't make sense to adopt concepts that you don't want to adopt. And therefore you can just use the ones that serve you and disregard the rest. And the concepts of identity crisis and asking whether you're an adult or not definitely do not serve you. If there are principles that you know are good for you, adopt them right away. Do not wait for a certain event. Do not wait until you finish school. Do not wait until you're 18 or something like that. Adopt them right away. Disregard the rest. You don't need an identity crisis to grow up. You absolutely don't. But identity crises are going to come anyway. But you don't need to summon artificial ones. If you already know what is right and what is wrong, if you know that discipline is better than partying around all day long, then you don't need an identity crisis. You can just live true to yourself. My name is Kirill. I'm 18 years old and my goal is to inspire 10,000 good decisions. I started my first business at 13, finished school at 16, and now I'm a year in university. if this video helped you and gave you some clarity, please consider subscribing.